Now a change of pace, and a new exhibition has captured the way some young Australians are experiencing the pandemic. The exhibition, titled Coronavirus in Children's Eyes, is a collaboration between community art programs and the Western Sydney University's Australia-China Institute for Arts and Culture, and collected over 90 artworks in response to coronavirus.
Well, Professor Jing Han is the director of the Australia-China Institute for Arts and Culture. She joins us now in the studio. Thank you so much for taking the time on a Saturday morning to come in and chat with us. Now, we've both have had a look at these paintings. They were remarkable, weren't they? They're really nice. What was it for you that really stood out for these series of paintings?
Well, to start with, we choose children as a subject is because basically the world is swallowed by this outbreak of a coronavirus. And the media is obviously very busy covering and reporting everything every day and around the world, but not much attention being paid to children except on their impact on their studies. So, and also children, usually they are very different from one and another. So we thought we should approach children and to see their responses. That would be really, really interesting. So that was a kind of behind the motivation. And also, the world we are thinking in is so surreal. So it's kind of, in another way, it's a quite good way of being creative and imaginative.
Now, there were cartoons, drawings, comics, plus voice narrations throughout it. Were there any themes that came through from these works of art?
Yes, I mean, obviously the overarching one is your responses, but you can see it's a wide range and, there's a strong protection the children feel for their family, for themselves, or for their friends, and also the fight spirit. And, like the first one, Marvin, and he's only 9-year-old, and the way he turns things around. He says, not the coronavirus drives us crazy. He says, our patience and resilience drives the coronavirus crazy. Yes, it's quite interesting.
Another one I really liked was this one. I think that was entitled Half Angel, Half Devil Creature. And the painter basically saw both the negative and the positive side of the pandemic itself, saying, well, there's a good side and a bad side to the pandemic. On the good side, we get to spend more time with the family. On the bad side, people get sick.
So true, and that's also surprising to see from children. Like they are very, reflective, reflective on what is going on, and see the positive side. It's a kind of their optimism is untainted. So.
And they're only 6 to 16. They're still very young.
The youngest one is actually 5. Right. The one painted walking my dog. And you could hear her narration. So
there was a lot of dog walking during the pandemic. I was even walking my neighbour's dogs.
Just to get out.
Just to get out.
No, dogs have been walked to death.
Yeah. So this is an exhibition that has 20 artworks, but there's actually a broader collection that people can look at.
That's right. So we choose the 20 because they can't be too long, but really many of them, most of them are really so good, and it's so pleasing, and it's quite inspiring to see the children's responses and being so creative. Yeah.
One thing I've often wondered about, Professor, and Kath, you and I sometimes talk about this as well, how this generation, as they go through this pandemic, all this uncertainty, they're watching their parents be worried, they're watching the fact that, they can't see their friends on a regular basis, they can't go to school, and then they can, and then they can't, and then they can, in accordance to like Victoria. However, what do you think the kind of kids that's going to come out of this? What sort of an adult do you think they'll become? Will they be adaptable, or will they be, filled with uncertainty?
I think the feeling I get from watching these children's paintings and drawings is quite positive, because they keep thinking. So that's the thinking is really a big comfort or inspiration to adults. And they reflect, our behaviour towards the world. The black whale is the one. And also the girl, she drew this déjà vu. So talking about what should we generate meaningful memories for the next generation. So I think all these thinking forward is really going to make the future generations stronger.
We could learn a lot from these little ideas.
Indeed.
Well, big ideas from small minds, couldn't we? Professor Jing Han, many thanks for joining us.
Oh, thank you for having me.